Hey everybody, it says Anthony Thomas. Um, Stop some violence today. Stop some violence today. Feels good. Kind of stupid, but it feels kind of good. And I'll be honest with you, some of it was self-preservation because I'm standing there and had this gone into a different type of situation, had they gone a little bit further and it turned into a real altercation. Nowadays, people, if they lose a fight or lose face, they get to blasting. They really do. They get the bop, 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 bop. And I didn't want to be part of that because they might have hit me. And there were some people around. I didn't want to be part of that. So I decided to put on my hero cape and walk over very heroically and go, hey, you stop that or I'll take you both down and whoop you both. Okay, I did not say that. I said, come on, guys. You don't want to do that, guys. Come on. I mean, you got your whole life ahead of you, man. You don't want to go to jail, man. You don't want to end anybody. Come on, guys. You don't want to do that. Right? If I was younger, if I was a young man, if I was 30 years ago, man, mind your business. And then they'd want to fight me. But because I probably look like their uncle, I probably look like their pops or their older brother, they hit me with, you know what, man, you right, old head. You're right, old head. Old head. You know what, old head? We gonna squat. I mean, man, I mean, I'm gonna go my way, you go your way, man. Forget it, man. We ain't got to do this, man. You know what I'm saying? But don't do that again, man. No, you don't do it again. I said, you're starting to fight again. You right, you right. Just go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Because I didn't want to see anybody get whooped on, and I didn't want to see anybody get blasted. Cause man, I've lost friends and family members to violence. I know what it's like to look on TV and watch the news. Ba-da-ba-ba, ba-da-ba-da-ba. That's right in the news tonight. And then they describe what happened to the person. And I know the guy. The guy was at my house the other day and he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. They weren't even looking for him. He had nothing to do with it, but now he's gone because somebody else was an idiot. It's amazing how violence will just pop up out of nowhere. I've been carjacked. I've had a guy get in the car, put a gun to my head, and say, get out. And as you can see, I'm still here. So guess what? I got out. And that car was a piece of crap. He probably got laughed at in jail. You in here because of stealing. Let me see what kind of car you stole, man. That you doing time for that, man. You should have called, man. You should have called me. I'd have gave you some money. You could have called a bus. At least you'd have had some pride being on the bus. I don't know why you drove that crap because that car sucked. If you drove that car, I would have to give up. Look, this. All right. Look, when you make a left turn, all right, hold the steering wheel real tight because you're going to hear a sound, a crunching sound, and the seat is going to slip over. All right, now, and then you just lean your shoulder in and push the thing with your shoulder, and the seat will go back to the normal place. Okay, so make sure you remember that. All right, and if you drive over 72 miles an hour, okay, this is going to happen. You know what I mean? And he stole that. But imagine risking ending someone's existence potentially and going to jail and using violence for that car. Really bad decision. Because violence usually is a bad decision, right? Once again, I know what it's like to turn on the news and see somebody that I know be the person who was the victim of something stupid by someone else who was stupid. I know people who I know of as nice human beings. My interactions with them were pleasant. I wasn't close friends with them, but I would see them on a daily basis. I see them at the store. I see them at the this. I see them at the that in my old neighborhood. And then I go back to visit my family. Hey, how's so and so doing? Oh, you didn't hear? And soon as somebody says, oh, you didn't hear, nobody says, oh, you didn't hear, and something good happens after it. At least not a lot. Something good happens. Hey, man, Chuck just. Hey, man, Frank. Hey, Frank and Susie just. But oh, you didn't hear? And some of these fools are going to be getting out of jail when they're 970 because of dumb decisions and because of violence. I'm very sensitive to violence because I grew up around a lot of it, and I was able to navigate around most of it. And probably you are probably too. I mean, you might live someplace where the violence it never even occurred to you. You might live in a place where, when you turn, I can't believe that kind of violence happened in this neighborhood, in this kind of neighborhood. I mean, we all know each other. I mean, it's just this. That just doesn't happen here. If you live in a place like that, violence is really shocking to you. Now, people that have listened to this podcast and have known this podcast has been in existence since 2013. So if there's some of you old heads of the podcast, you know this story. Bear with me. There's people, because my YouTube channel is gaining a little bit of traction, there's more people coming to listen to this. So bear with me, okay, guys? Um, Violence didn't just start in my life with the carjacking when I was an adult. It started when I was a kid in school and I was bullied, right? I'm not the biggest human being in the world now, and I was even smaller then. I had a growth spurt, late growth spurt to get to the average height that I am now, which is average height, basically. But I was smaller back then, and I was really smart. So if you're small and really smart, that basically means please beat me up. I laugh at it now, more exasperated than humorously. But what started to happen was I would answer the questions. And as a kid, I read the encyclopedia for fun. That's the truth. And so when I went to school, a lot of the times I knew the answers already. So I would answer the answers. And I was very shy. So if you raise your hand and answer the question, and that's very good. Oh, you eat that crap up. So I kept answering the questions. I didn't realize that every answer to a question was going to lead to one shot to the chin and one shot to the ribs by these idiots. Got to the point where at first they were bullying me just by being physically imposing. And then it began with the beatings and the kickings and the punchings and the pushings and the tripping and the trying to knock down the steps, all this kind of stuff. That's what my existence was like at this place, at that school. That's what it was like every day, every single day. I knew it was coming. So after a while, it wasn't exactly terrifying anymore because I was getting attacked every single day, all day, right? I literally got to the point where I acquiesced to the beatings because I got to the point where I got used to it and I knew I could handle it. That's what it was like. But one day, the guys who were attacking me got a little bit over the top. Sometimes when there's a mob mentality, it takes on a life of its own. Sometimes even if the individuals have a limit, I'm not going to go any further than this. When they get into a pack, you've seen it before in the news. Group of people, somebody grabs something at the store, and another person grabs something at the store, and all of a sudden a bunch of people bust in and they ransack the store. They wouldn't do that if they were with their parents. They wouldn't do that if they were with one friend. They wouldn't do that, but they did that when there's 50 of them. And if you're fighting guys and there's four of them and one of you, if somebody starts to go a little overboard and actually, instead of just punch you while you're in a ball, try to stomp on your fingers, try to kick you in the groin, try to really injure you, all of a sudden they all try to do that. I remember realizing in the middle of the attacking that this isn't just a regular beating. This is someone really trying to injure me. And I was angry because my only offense was being smarter than these four individuals. That was my offense, being smaller than them individually. That was my offense, being smaller and smarter. That's what I did wrong. And I got angry. I wasn't just angry at them. I was angry at me too. You want to know why? Because I had accepted the fact that they were attacking me and acquiesced to it. Well, I guess this is just what happens. I guess I'll do this until school's over. I guess I'll do this until summer break. I can handle this. I allowed it because I didn't want it to get worse. Well, guess what? It got worse. It got worse. They actually tried to injure me. It didn't happen, but that was the intention. And I now knew that's the new level. It's one thing to get roughed up a little bit, but when people try to hurt you, try to injure you every day, eventually it's going to happen. And I was angry. I was angry at them, and I was angry at myself for allowing it. That's the truth. It's one of those tentpole moments in your life. Sometimes a tentpole moment in your life is a before and after. Something great happens, you become a parent, you get a job, you get a promotion, you find the love of your life. Something great happens, and you're not the same person afterwards because something great happens. I'm not the same person I was before I decided to do stand-up comedy back in the 80s. I'm a happier person because of that, because I love the art form and I'm damn good at it. Even though I'm retired from it right now. I may go back to it, by the way. But there's also moments that happen to you that are bad and you can't and you're not the same person afterwards. Losing a loved one to violence that happened to my family. Losing I guess you could say friends or loved ones too. Losing them to violence. Like I said, being able to see them on the news and realize the person they're talking about was at my house at a barbecue. The person I'm talking about hugged me yesterday, last week. The person they're talking about this, and you're not the same person after that because a part of who you are is gone because of somebody else. That relative ain't coming to your house anymore. There's a one less table, or two less tables, or three, whatever the number is. There's less tables at your Thanksgiving dinner table because somebody else was stupid. One of your homies isn't at the bar anymore, and his wife is crying, and his kids are crying because they don't have their father anymore because somebody else was stupid. Anyway, so I had gotten really, really angry at these idiots, and I wanted to hurt them, but I was like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to turn into that. I don't want to be like them. And as the people that listen to this podcast before, who know the story, knows before, it had gotten back to my neighborhood. And I had some rough dudes were in my neighborhood. And I was a nice guy and they liked me and they knew I wasn't about that life. But they liked me and they didn't like somebody from their neighborhood getting messed with. These weren't gang members. These were just regular tough dudes who would stomp you out in the neighborhood. And one guy walks up to me and goes, "Yo, I heard about what happened to you at school, man. You a good dude. I don't like nobody messing with you. You a good dude, man. Uh, you want to hold something? I got something for you. You want to hold something? You know what I mean? If you want to hold something, I'll let you hold something. What does that mean? If you grew up where I grew up, if you grew up in the hood, hold something means do you want a pew pew to go do something you shouldn't do at school? Bang, bang, bang. He was saying, I can get you one, hand it to you, go do what you got to do, bring it back to me, and it'll disappear. And for a nanosecond, a fraction of a nanosecond, I considered it. But it was never a real consideration. I'm not going to do that. I'd be getting out of jail like next week if I did that. So I said, "No, I'm cool, man. I appreciate that. Just let me know, man. Let me know if you need to hold something. I got something for you to hold, man. I don't like that. I don't like hearing that, bruh." And I go back to school and I see them individually. And because of the last vicious beat down, they're overconfident. And I catch the biggest of the three. I remember the four, sorry. He's the biggest without the other three, I should say. And he thinks he's gonna do that again. But I was so angry. You ever been so angry that you see colors? Right? You ever been so angry that it's like the Hulk from the 70s TV show, you don't make me angry, you wouldn't like me when I'm angry. I didn't know that level of angry existed. I didn't know that level of anger existed at all. But it exists, I think, in everybody. Because I know this is the architect of my potential future destruction. And I ain't letting that happen. Hell no. Not gonna say what happened next. I mean, it rhymes with whooping his ass. Okay, it doesn't rhyme with whooping his ass. I did whoop his ass. And I found them individually. And I never made the first move, but they hadn't talked to each other. See, back then there was no cell phones back then. So if somebody got their ass whooped, it took a while for you to find out about it. So I caught them individually. Didn't start anything, just was around. And they approached me. And they found out that individually, I'm not as easy to deal with because four of them approached me to whoop on me, but found out that by themselves they couldn't. Oh. Now, as an older guy, I realized I should have. You go to your parents, you go to your school, you try to do something. You don't try to take it to do it on your own because now what happens? They've already proven that they have no problem injuring or attempting to injure you, which means they'll injure you in the future. You now have proven that you can whoop their asses individually. What do you think the next step is? Hmm? I'm not going to let them hurt me. And they got to save face, even though nobody but me knew what happened to them. I knew, but they can't let that stand. Fortunately for me, I was able to leave the school unscathed through a set of circumstances that I will not divulge at this particular time. Everything's cool though, right? But I got out of there. Nobody got hurt. They didn't get hurt. I whooped their ass, but they didn't get hurt seriously. I didn't get hurt seriously after that. It all kind of cooled down because I went to one place, they went to another place. Then they went and got in trouble someplace else and ruined their lives. But that's too bad. F them. But it just goes to show you, like I said, violence can pop off anywhere. You can lose loved ones. You can lose yourself if you make the wrong decisions. And I look back at that kid and I realize he was a pretty tough kid, as it turns out. That was a bad decision to get into those fights. Probably shouldn't have done that. Definitely shouldn't have done that. But I understand why he did it. I wouldn't make that decision now. Actually, nobody would try to bully a middle-aged man, to be honest with you. But you get the point. But violence is everywhere. And you got to learn how to navigate it, right? It's okay to walk away, no matter what people will tell you. It's okay to walk away. I talked about another fight where I let the guy win because he was bigger and stronger than me, but he couldn't fight. And I knew I could whoop his behind. Not that I'm some tough guy, but I could whoop him. And I let him win so he could save face because I didn't need to win. I was smaller than him. People would pat me on the back for hanging around, even though I could have. And he knew what happened. But I made the choice. I was smarter than I was in high school. I mean, in that was that high school? I was smarter than I was during that time with those four dudes. I was smarter. I had made an adjustment in my programming because I could have hurt this guy. But I was like, no, 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 no. Just protect yourself. Let him know you could beat him, but let everybody else think that you lost because once again, you get smarter and you let him save face. You look good because you hung with a guy much bigger than you, and everybody goes home alive. Alive. Not dead. And then there's current me. Not only am I avoiding violence on my behalf, so I don't get into any kind of trouble, because nobody wants to fight a middle-aged guy, I'm actually looking at dudes who are about to do something stupid, and they're not even going to remember years from now, maybe weeks from now, a month from now. They're not going to remember the old guy that stopped them from fighting. Nobody's going to remember that. Do you remember somebody that let you in traffic 5 years ago, or 6 months ago, or 2 weeks ago? No, you don't remember that crap. But the positive benefit was there. Right now, I couldn't identify those dudes in the lineup, and I hope they're never in a lineup. I couldn't identify them, but I know for a fact, had I not stopped, what was about to happen? Had the old head not slipped up there and went, "Come on, guys, you don't want to do that, guys. No, much love to y'all, man. I don't want y'all to go to jail. There's no reason. Okay, old head, okay, old head, okay, old head. I'm gonna go my way. You're gonna go your way. I'm gonna go my way. You're gonna go your way. As I've evolved, I've figured out a way to navigate the violence of life. Now, if somebody comes along and they're just a piece of crap and they're going to just shove violence down your throat, there's really nothing you can do about it. I mean, if you've ever, if for those of you that are old enough to go to bars or nightclubs and places like that, or if you grew up in a tough neighborhood like I did, you realize there are just some people they've decided I'm fighting somebody, right? Or a road rager. This person is road. They didn't get that angry that second. They've been that angry their lifetime. You just happen to be the one that accidentally cut them off or looked at them funny. And they got out of the car. I'm gonna do something to you. Really? Your cars didn't touch. He drove a little slower than you would drive. Drive around them. No need for the brake check. But they go to violence. They always tell you, don't look at the person in the road raging. Look away. Do not engage. And they're right. It's okay to walk away. It really is okay to walk away. I wish I walked away back in the day. Even though everything worked out fine, I'm still here. I don't know what happened to those dudes. I know they did dumb stuff and ruined their lives, but I didn't have anything to do with that. It's okay to walk away. Violence is only good when you're protecting yourself. It's not good to be violent because of anger. Somebody's trying to beat you down. Okay, you do what you got to do. But don't have somebody be mad, you're mad at somebody and you think, I'm gonna go kick that guy's butt. What exactly is gonna come of it? You're gonna go beat up somebody and the person's gonna go, now that I'm not unconscious anymore, well, I can't really see you because my eyes are swollen. And I don't know if you can understand what I'm talking. I understand what I'm saying, but my jaw is wired shut, so it probably sounds like this. It sounds like that. But now I see your point. Now that you viciously beating me up, I see your point. Oh, by the way, there won't be any retaliation at all. Oh, of course not. The humiliation of me being beaten up and the hospital bills and all of that kind of stuff. I'm definitely not going to call the police or wait till I heal and find you and stomp you out or have my friends beat you or whatever. I'm not going to do anything like that. I now realize the way you expressed your violence towards me unprovoked, it makes sense and I see your point. Doesn't work like that. So all I'm saying is, look, you may have people that are telling you, man, I wouldn't put up with that. Truth be told, anybody that tries to put you in a violent situation, whether it be a girlfriend or whether it be a friend, who tries to pump you up into getting into a violent situation where violence isn't necessary, which is most times, that's not your friend. That's not your friend. Protect yourself. Okay? You heard it from your online unk. And that's me. Your online unk has told you the truth. Protect yourself, okay? You dig? Cool. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Much love to you. Unk S out.